Hello and welcome to chapter 168 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing this evening?
I'm good. Busy weekend, busy day, life. You know how it is. But no, I'm not doing too bad. Had a day of reading comics, trying to get ahead on my comic reading challenge, and yeah, gotta go back to work tomorrow. Yay! Yeah,
Ugh.
man. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Joe. I'm off now. I have my program completed. I did a little thing with the medical with the occupational health nurse today for my job starting on May 8th. So
Yay!
all that was good, and our kid had a checkup. All that was good as well. I'm just enjoying my time off right now. I'm going to try and catch up on some comics, also some TV shows, and an animated movie or two in the meantime. Plus, we have all this good content, and we have a little mini announcement that I'll throw out after we get through the network plugs
Mhm.
because we have a fun show here. We have a Penguin trailer. We have some talk about the Flash at Cinemacon. We have Superman Legacy updates, Sandman updates, and much more. So, before we get into that, obviously, I have to do the network plugs. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays, bi weekly, as they walk through the multiverse. And Sundays, monthly, is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 8 shows on G-Way Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the G-Way on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier, and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing, you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through the DC films through the years. We've done so many leading up now. We took on the Batman 89 a couple months ago. Uh, this month it was the Flash 1990 TV pilot, and
Mhm.
then next month it will be Batman Returns, leading into the Flash. Maybe I thought it was perfect timing. We have the Marvel Alliance guys going through their MCU rewatch, not only the films but the one shots and the shows as well. Right now, they just put up a new episode. It was Black Widow, so check out the guys' thoughts on that. We also have Joe's Multiverse Minutes, Clay going through shows for the first time, and Katie going through Star Wars comics with her husband, Matt. We thank everyone that's a patron, but if you can't be a patron, if you take a quick 30 to 60 seconds, rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice. That's always a great thing. It helps other people find the show, and that's a great thing. Joe, before we jump into things, I also want to give a shout out to you, Clay, and Chris on Chris's show, World's Finest True Believers. They dropped a creator spotlight with the I'm not going to name every individual person because they had quite a crew of people, but everyone involved with the Massive Verse. So please check that out. It's such a fun conversation. Joe, give us just a little sneak of it, and yeah, I watched the whole thing last night and was laughing, and immediately asked Chris for the reading list for Radiant Black because I have the first 5 issues read, but I'm going to go back and reread them again just to go straight through the whole thing while I'm off. That's part
Yeah,
of my
I
goal.
before we did this interview, which we recorded earlier
Hmm.
than obviously the other night, but I did a reread of the whole Masterverse, which includes Radiant Black, Radiant Red, Rogue Sun, Dead Lucky, the Supermassive crossover that came out after that, Radiant Pink, what was out at the time. It's a blast. We had the whole group on, Michael, the editor, Ryan, Kyle, Matt, uh, Melissa, the writers, and we were just talking Supermassive 23. I believe this week, if not today, maybe this Wednesday, I could be completely wrong, is the final order cutoff for the Supermassive 2023. It comes out in May. I think at the end of May, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I think that's what they said. I'm not.
So,
Yeah, I think so.
if you guys want to go check it out, you can go to the comic book store, go pre-order it. If you, for whatever reason, can't get there in time, I'm sure they'll have extra copies because this book is super massive. It's gonna be a fun little thing, and we talked about obviously all the potential that's of the Massiveverse itself and what could come from this event and what's basically going to be going forward. And they also do a fun little thing on the video, on the YouTube video. Kyle gives some not spoilers, but some previews, sneak previews
I
of stuff
was just
from the
about to
book.
say that, Joe. If you're listening on the podcast, if through a podcast, please go to the YouTube, to the Geekverse podcast network YouTube channel, and check this out, because the visuals, some of the stuff that Kyle previewed for the guys that hasn't dropped yet was immaculate. The covers, that was pretty cool, especially that Melissa had one as well. And
Yeah,
Ryan asked on the call if Melissa could give one out of kind. And Michael's like, I have a whole load I could give you. It was a great conversation. So please check that out. If you can. It's such a fun. All those creator spotlights are so good, but with the amount of people, I was astonished at how well it flowed.
yeah.
So yeah,
Chris did a really amazing job uh, dividing it up into what question to everybody, and yeah, obviously just with myself and Clay and himself and Chris, of course, like just asking the questions and it all flowing just pretty well, pretty naturally.
yeah, please check that out. Like I said, it was great fun. So Joe, let's get into the show for tonight, listeners. Obviously, unfortunate for us, the Flash trailer is going to be coming out tomorrow from Cinemacon, but myself and Joe are, depending on when it drops, we may go live to review it, or we may record uh, and put it up on the podcast feed,
Yeah,
just the
we'll figure
audio
it out.
version.
It's all gonna
We're
depend
going
on
to
what
cover
time
it.
it drops.
We're going to cover it though, because we feel like waiting until next Monday to talk about it is kind of too long for us. We don't want to wait that long, so we're going to cover it. And we've been off last week. We figured it's just a little way to make it up to you guys. So we will be covering that. But before we cover that, Joe, we got to talk about it, because the Flash is at Cinemacon. WB has a presentation tomorrow. What are you looking forward to? What are you thinking? And are you And obviously, the Flash has a whole screening. So, are you hoping no spoilers come out from that? Do you think it's inevitable immediately?
I
What?
hope we don't get any spoilers, but as this weekend showed, um, scoopers are already starting to put things out there. Um, Clay even texts me. He's like, "Hey, so what's? I got a question about the Flash movie." I'm like, "I am not going to confirm or deny anything that has been spoken or written by a scooper." Um, I want you to go in blind. I want you to go in without me telling you something. And he's like, "God damn it, Joe." So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the trailer bring. I'm looking forward to the movie. Even knowing what I know, like it's still I want to see it complete and done on the big screen. So it should be fun. What's
Hey,
going on, Chris?
Chris. Um, Honestly, Joe, I'm super excited. I'm a little nervous, like you said, like, because scoopers have already started to spoil it. It's only inevitable if some, like, a whole load of people, a whole theater full of people see it like this. Uh,
Yeah, all it takes is one
Mute
person just
words.
to be like, "Hey, so this is out there," and then people just go run with it. And that's the thing I don't like anymore.
Yes, same. Mute words, hashtags. If you don't want to be spoiled, number one, I am a big proponent of this. Stay off social media. I know some people's jobs require them to be on social media. If that's the case, you have to really get strong in your mute game. I implore you to go contact at Brentak Prime on Twitter, because he seems
He
to be.
knows the words to mute.
He was my gold standard for muting words and just never getting spoiled. But then he goes and shows on a tweet, like, or I think it might have been in a GUI chat, that he didn't have like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 abbreviation like block. I'm like, Brent, that's a rookie move. You're supposed to be like the OG of this for me. So yeah, it was.
Calling out Brett.
But
Damn.
yes, no, I mean, it's the testament for doing that. But yeah, that's what I would say. Just stay off Twitter if you can. If you don't have to be on there for a job, like, avoid it. Because people are going to come to discuss this stuff, rumors, everything, and they can do that. That's part of this platform. Connect with people that you want to discuss with.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to be spoiled, it's
And get some
hard.
clicks too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
It gets some traffic and people will flock to it and run with it.
My mute game is on point. I've done stuff before, like for Avengers Endgame. I've deleted my Twitter for a couple weeks. I've done that before, just not even accidentally. And then in YouTube, accidentally would spoil it with their stories and stuff, like
Mm,
recommended videos. So, like I said, social media. If you don't want to be spoiled, you have to stay off social media. That's part of the game here. Unfortunately, it would be very awesome if people would be like, yeah, for a week or two, or all these people going in for the Flash trailer in CinemaCon, if they all had to hand in their phones and they
Yeah,
couldn't
that ain't gonna
record,
happen.
or that's never going to happen. Or son, like that's not going to happen. So there's going to be spoilers out there now. But obviously, WB is very confident in this film for just the push behind it.
As they should be. This is gonna have a big, big box office, I think.
I think so as well, Joe. What do you think we're going to see in this trailer? Just in terms of action, possible uh, characters, anything, any more of a character, any less?
Um, I think we're gonna get a lot of Flash.
Oh
Maybe even two of them. Who knows?
my god!
No. Honestly, I think without giving anything away, um, if you have read the Flashpoint movie or the Flashpoint comic book,
Damn it.
I think it's going to be. I mean, it's not going to be a one for one, obviously, but it's going to be taking a lot of elements from the comic, and it's going to translate fairly well. And then obviously, if you have seen the Man of Steel, like we already know that whole thing is going to be the whole Zod coming in is going to be part of that. So the combination of it all, I think, will work well. And there's that really cool scene where in the one trailer we saw, where the last one, where both the Flashes are like speeding together with the feet, and then
Yeah.
boom, like that was just I kind of want to see more of that.
SPub says, after getting spoiled on the No Time to Die ending on Reddit, I've gotten used to muting everything. Exactly. It's tough when you, like I said, when you want to dig through for things, but getting spoiled really sucks if you're really looking forward to something. For this trailer, I'm hoping we don't see very much in terms of the if there's any more Ben Affleck in the Batman. I don't mind seeing him as Bruce more, but if you got, I know you don't have that much, so I hope they hold some stuff like that. I'd like to see more of a story trailer with Barry or the other Barry, even showing some of the other Barry, because I feel like he's setting this up. He's setting it up to get powers. I feel like this is that's kind of part of what I may think is maybe going on here. Is that other Barry setting this up to get powers? So, like I
Okay.
said, could be wrong about that, but that's just a theory time. We'll call it. Shout out to
Theory
heavy
time.
spoilers for
Theory time.
that. Theory time.
Theory
Theory
time.
time. Theory time. So yeah, I would love to see more action. There is rumor that Wonder Woman's in this. I hope that we don't see that because she's supposed to be in that action scene with
I mean,
Batman as
like we
well.
did in Shazam, where they
Yeah, yeah.
gave it away like 3 days before the movie comes out.
Learn from your mistakes. Maybe just a little update. I don't give away too much about Keaton as well. Obviously, you have to show him, but like, let's not show his backstory of what he's been up to. Like, hold that stuff for the movie. Just give me some more cool Keaton action shots. And like you said about the Flashpoint comic, even the animated movie took some beats from that comic, but not everything. They
Sure,
did some
but
things
that
were
was
changed
closer because they were
closer.
able to use, like Cyborg and Thomas Wayne Batman and all of that, all those elements. But like this, you're limited to only being able basically to use the two Flashes, the Supergirl, the Michael Keaton Batman, and then go from there.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
like how they switched some of this stuff up just to bring more people in and make it more relatable to the general audience. So I don't have a complaint there. On the game says, if you have a strong mute game, all your list with in particular demographic whining about Fox News being woke for firing Tucker Carlson. Yeah, the internet is just just a terrible place, to be honest with you at times.
Got that right.
But met a lot of you guys from here, so yeah, it's not that terrible at times either. So yeah, Joe, I'm just excited. I can't wait for us to see this. S Bubs asked, "Do you think they should show clips from Batman '89 or Batman Returns in the trailer, sort of like how they showed clips from other movies in Shazam?" I would like that. That would be a good way to open it. If you make a trailer Keaton specific, that's the way to do it. Or even like a minute trailer that comes out later. That would be a cool way to do it. Like show some of his greatest hits as Batman, and then lead into like a 20 to 30 seconds of Batman in the Flash. But I don't know if you'll have time, and then you run the criticism, of course, of everyone saying it's supposed to be a Flash film. Why the Batman? So
The whole reason this movie's gonna make money is because of Batman. Come on, let's be
yeah, exactly. Like some people are coming to this. My father, for one, saw a trailer on TV while watching hockey the other night, and literally asked me the next day when he was calling me to talk about the game if Michael Keaton was coming back as Batman. So
honest.
yeah, um, I
Yeah,
really
that I'm looking forward to that. I hope that it's this because we've talked about, with Blue Beetle and Aquaman being the last two, and we all know what's going on with that. I'm hoping that this is not the last big DC movie before we get into the new DCU.
Agreed. Also, people better watch out. Make sure to lock up your DVD and Blu-ray cabinets. Double protect your passwords if you have the like digital copies picked up of any of Zack Snyder's DC films, because apparently it's all going to be erased from existence. So
Oh, Jesus Christ.
you'll never have the. I'm just sorry, Joe. I see those tweets there as well. Obviously, those people immediately go to my block pile, but it's just hilarious that like people will think something's getting erased. You'll never lose those films, so it's just I'm excited to see that. I really can't wait to see his invasion like this with Supergirl. This film, I can't wait for us to review it. This is going to be a multiple time film before I watch it. I know I have a young kid, but if I'll pay for Allison's mother to come in town for a week so I can watch this film multiple times before we even talk about it. I am that excited. I can't wait. And
The
I'm equally as
16th,
excited
right?
for the trailer.
June
Yeah.
16th. I definitely will see it once. I'm going to do my best to try to see it twice before we cover it.
I'm going to have a notepad for the second time, just making sure I don't forget
I
anything.
did that for the Batman when I went to go see the Batman the second time. I had like my phone out and was like trying to type stuff.
I feel like
Yeah,
that wouldn't last for very long.
Well,
For me,
didn't.
anyway. Chris says, I can't wait for more Zod. It's going to be great seeing him again. 100%. Like he was, in my opinion, still since Ledger, he's been the best DC villain.
Michael Shannon is just an amazing actor, and him as Zod in Man of Steel was great. Seeing him again in the trailer, perfect.
Exactly.
He still looks wonderful.
100%, and he 100% commits to everything. It's not like looking at someone going through the motions, like, oh, you're probably better. No, he commits to every line. That's why he was such a great Zod.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're excited to see this trailer as well, to break it down, and for me to stare at Joe sometimes just to see if he cracks and laughs and kind of be like, I knew this was coming before. Just I stare at Joe long enough. I do the Larry David stare. Yeah, he does.
I'm good at hiding.
You got a great poker face. You got a great poker face. I want to say the line from Poker Face, but no. Okay, Joe, let's take our first ad break before we get into the next topic. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, we did get a trailer. Not the Flash trailer, but we got a trailer for the Penguin.
I mean, trailer, teaser, some behind the scenes stuff, which is kind of fun.
It says teaser trailer here anyway. So I'm going to cue this up, turn on the closed captions, share my screen, and we will talk about this. Okay. So first of all, I love the shot of Gotham here.
God dang, I did it wrong. There we go. You gotta add it to the stream.
You can see it, right?
Now I can.
Okay.
So I think you forget to add it to the stream every time, which is what has been the problem.
Okay. I thought when you click the tab, it automatically.
Nah, It's all good. It's all good.
That's why you need co-hosts. Get your back like that.
Or you could spend 40 minutes on the crossover episode talking by yourself.
Yeah, we have to blame Oliver for that one.
No, you're good.
Okay,
right.
So this is clearly first shot here at the
literally right from the end of the Batman. Like it's literally picking up maybe a day or two after that. If not, let's say a week or something.
I think a week, which goes to some of the questions I have to talk to you about after we get through this. But obviously, this is the aftermath of Riddler's project, evil project, and Penguin's here to pick up the pieces. Joe, what did you feel about this trailer after watching it? Like, because this felt to me like it was like a mob Sopranos type show, hidden in a Batman world.
I mean, that's 100% what it's going to be. It's literally the Penguin trying to rise up, and I think he even says it, like the mob boss, like being a mob boss. So it's gonna be It's gonna be a lot of fun. I don't expect to be a ton of action. Like
Like,
there's gonna be action these scenes of like fighting, like gunfights here and there, but it's gonna be a lot of behind this, like the backyard in the restaurants, verbally assaulting each other.
the dark alleys of Gotham.
Yeah,
The places that Batman goes to fight, but you're not going to see Batman because, like we know, Batman can't be everywhere at once. So this is Penguin trying to take Gotham, take a piece of Gotham for himself,
yeah, become the king of the mobs. Get them all
and
under him.
he just looks fantastic. And obviously, this is a couple episodes. The first couple episodes are about him trying to get stuff from a FEMA disaster truck because that's what he's staking out here and attacks later on in this trailer. Some of our players as well. Like I said, him coming out of a FEMA truck there, and this is eerily similar to the first looks we got of the Batman too, in terms of not everything was filmed, not even close, and it still looked fantastic and blew you away, hooked you
Yeah,
right away.
yeah.
Sophia Falcone there
Yep.
as well, and that's something I want to talk to you about first. Whoops, there
Oh
you
no,
go.
too far.
Uh,
Next chapter in the Batman saga.
yes, I noticed that immediately. I just wanted to point that out, listeners, so we come back to it because that is what is in the trailer there. The next pat, and then we see a new henchman, like a right hand guy for
I'm trying to
Penguin.
figure out who. I mean, they don't name him, and I
No, we
don't
don't.
recognize who he could be. He's very, he's like a 20-something kid practically. So I don't know.
Straight up kills somebody and
Oh
laughs
yeah,
about it after. Like total whack job. Penguin is. Um, yeah. Do you just day one for me? Penguin. Matt Reeves clearly is going to be able to do what he wants, and no zingers at the end there for that. That trailer looked really great, and like on the game says, literally a boom mic and won the shots.
because it's anyway.
On the game, there was a scooping. Not quite. We're waiting. Probably next week, you'll get a news item about it for us talking about it. But I think the writer, one of the writers for the Arkham show or producers, kind of hinted that it was still happening. But I'm gonna wait until I see like at least something wrote up about it instead of just a couple tweets.
Yeah. As for the one and done, I'm assuming you mean one season and done. I don't know. It will depend on how the season plays out.
Well,
I would love for it to be like the movie, the Batman, come in for a TV show, the Penguin, go back to the Batman 2, come back to like a second season of the Penguin, just kind of seeing what's going on in the underworld.
I don't feel like I feel like on the game. I feel like it is a one and done because of what they said. The next chapter in the Batman saga. So I feel like we could get a chapter next on something on a completely different villain or the Arkham show. That could be after the second Batman.
Maybe, maybe.
So I would like that too, though, Joe. I would like the pattern of jumping forward and jumping back from
But
TV show to film.
I also, and I remember hearing something about that years ago when Dark Tower was going to be actually being made into a movie and a series like that. That's what their plan was. The plan was to make a movie, do a series of like a 2-season series, back to a movie, back to like 2 more seasons. That didn't pan out. But ever since I heard that idea, I'm like, that's really smart. And you can work it to where if you can't see the show is just adding to the lore. You don't
Yes.
need it for the movies, but at the same time, I can't say you don't need the movies for the show because you need literally the very first opening shot of this trailer was Gotham flooded. How did it flood? Go watch the Batman and you'll find out.
See, I equate it kind of a little bit to the Marvels, where if you watched Miss Marvel in her own show, that would enhance your viewing of the Marvels and get you have more love of her character. But I do think that they're going to tell it so that you don't have to have had watched her show
See,
to
I
go
hope
along
they
with it.
do, but I feel, especially with the MCU, you have to watch the shows to understand what's going on in the movies. Like you
Yeah,
don't.
but I feel like
I'm not saying
because
you don't
they're
have
so
a
deep.
choice.
No, I feel like because they're so deep into it with chat, how many movies have already been and how big of a universe they are. That's true. But I feel like the Batman is such self-contained that
Yes.
I feel like they could do a good job. Maybe like if you watch the Penguin show, you'll know that Penguin is like the head mob boss now. But if you watch the Batman 2, you don't need to know how the Penguin rolls up
Yeah,
to become the
that's
mob
what
boss.
I'm
You could
getting at.
just see a one little interaction between them. But for people who watch the show, you know how, like what Penguin had to do. Maybe you're rooting for him a little bit, or you don't root against him so hard. And also that his right hand guy, maybe he's in the Batman with Penguin. Where people who watch the first Batman go to the second Batman are like, "Who is this guy?" But if you watch the show, you get heightened, but it's not taken away from your experience if you don't know that sub character.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. You can watch the movies and just watch the movies and enjoy it,
Yeah,
but if you watch the show, it's going to enhance that viewing of part 2 and so on and so forth. Yeah,
like
we said the same thing, just different ways.
different ways, but that would be the goal. And you're afraid you get worried. Like I said, you get worried when you see stuff like you have to watch some of these Disney Plus shows to make sure you know everything that's going on. For you wouldn't have, but I still feel like you can do a good job of showing where, like, just quickly summing up how a character got to the point they're at from their show and just keep going on. I feel like it's just sometimes it's a tighter needle to thread, and it all depends on what you want to do. Like I said, the chapters in the the next chapter of the Batman saga is what stuck out to me during this teaser trailer, which makes me think that we could get other villains. It probably will not be another season of Penguin. We'll get Penguin doing things in the Batman movies, but I feel like even you could even have him showing up in other villains
Yeah.
um, shows. But I feel like you go away from that. Maybe next one is Catwoman.
Or
You know what I
whatever
mean?
the villain slash whomever's in the second movie. Yeah, I mean, it's highly possible.
But
The
yeah,
beauty is that Gunn is basically letting Reeves do whatever he wants with this universe because he knows that it's gonna be big. Like he knows that that universe, that Elseworlds with the Batman, it's its own thing, and it doesn't need to be connected to anything else. And Matt Reeves understands that, and he's gonna build off of that.
I need James Gunn to greenlight, or not even greenlight, put into production a Elseworlds project, another Elseworlds project or two, if before I think that that is a viable banner that he has faith in, instead of thinking that WBD said both these projects, Batman and Joker, made bank on their first runs, so we want to have another film, we want to make more money, so you
I
got to keep
mean,
let these go.
the article that we're gonna get into next, I mean, just teasing that a little bit. If you keep going through there, it does talk about some of the Elseworld stuff. Like
Yeah.
it talks about Constantine too, still maybe up in the air.
Yes,
So
that's why I'm because Keanu was the same way when he was being interviewed. He's very hesitant. And on the game asks us preferred villain for the Batman sequel.
Mad Hatter,
Oh,
Clayface.
not in Matt Reeves' world. For I want Clayface 100%, but I want to see him like he was in like the animated series. Like I want to see him full glory instead of a just a the first take from way back in the comics that Matt Reeves will do, where he just like it is someone that changes faces all the time, but he doesn't have
Fine.
the mystical. I'm just saying personally,
Mad Hatter then.
if you could tell me that we get the Clayface of comics, I would be 100% in for
Oh
that
man,
choice.
would
For
love it.
me, Two Face or and Scarecrow would be ones that I think could play well. Obviously, Scarecrow was used. Both of these guys were used in Nolan's trilogy, but I still think that those would be great villains, especially.
And that's why I keep pushing Clayface and Mad Hatter. We haven't had them in live action yet.
And also probably take away Two Face from me because I feel like I have Harvey in the second film and then Two Face in the third would play a lot better for me.
I mean,
Like have him actually have a friend in the
we've
second
got
film, and that be the DA.
We've got Harvey Dent in Gotham Knights that we're
On the
not
game,
watching.
on the game, we are in concert. On the game says save the mystical villains for God.
He's not
Yes,
mystical. He fell in a vat of mud and became Clayface.
yes. Well, he was choked of project in the animated series. He was just choked of Daggett's mystical chemical that turned him into Clayface.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, I think the fantastical villain should stay in Gunn's DCU for his Batman and not Matt Reeves, because I don't think Matt
Yeah,
Reeves
no,
want that as well.
100% correct. They're trying to keep this. I know Clay hated it, but like grounded,
Yeah,
and trying to keep it more like plausible. Like some random person could do this, and that's fine. Like Mad Hatter would be perfect for that. Just saying.
I don't want Clay's not super alone. If we didn't have if we didn't have Gunn's Universe and Brave and Bold announced, and we were just getting Matt
Correct.
Reeves Batman, I'd be a little disappointed that we're going back to the same Nolan well of not fantastical villains, like just trying to make them make sense instead of having him like looking back. I wish we got Bane transforming like crazy, like
But the Bane we got,
"Ugh!"
was really good.
Yes,
Tom Hardy did an
as a
amazing
character,
job
very
with
very
what
good
he did.
character. Yes,
But I'm 100% with you
yeah.
because Bane is my favorite Batman villain, and I would love to see him pump it that venom and like have his muscles just become so fucking Hulk huge.
Yes, so just basically like be a CGI Hulk. Like that's what I would love to have seen. Obviously, we didn't get that. Maybe Batman and Robin pushed us away from that still, but
Ugh.
yeah, I Joe, this show has me in 100%. I again, I want. It's not a question for you or I about the Penguin being required viewing for Batman 2. We're watching Penguin, probably
We're
watching
watching it
multiple times.
because I enjoyed the Batman movie, and I love Colin Farrell. Like he does an amazing job, and he looks amazing as Penguin.
And S Bob says, "I'm just excited for when Matt Reeves starts dropping those casting announcement gifs. So are we. So are we when we hear the villains and what he has in
Yep.
store. I can't wait to see it all. There was no Batman show, no Easter egg, no bat signal, anything like that. Do you think we'll see Batman at some point in this, or do you think they're going to stay away from it and just be a total Penguin?
I'm hoping that it focuses on Penguin. If Batman is in it, he is like flying over the rooftops. Like you don't need to have him in it. Now, I wouldn't be opposed to having like a Bruce Wayne just show up randomly,
Ooh, ooh,
but I also understand that if you have Bruce Wayne, Batman tends to be right there.
yes.
So while I would love to have Bruce Wayne show up, I don't need Bruce Wayne to show up. And the
I'm in
same
agreement with
same
you.
and like I would love to see Batman in there, but he doesn't need to be. And if he is, I don't want the focus to be on him.
I'm in agreement with you. I just want Batman to have a presence. Like I want thugs to be scared. I want to talk about him every once in a
Bat signal
while.
goes up and everybody's
Yeah.
like, "What?"
Yeah, I Bat Single would probably be the extent of what I would want to see him here in this show because I don't like. I want to see the inner workings of Penguin. Obviously, your general audience person would love to see Batman, but personally, I
You got a whole movie for that.
have him
Yeah.
like he. You remember when the thieves saw him and they took off and everyone's scared of him at the
Exactly,
opening
right
of
at
the
the
last
beginning,
film?
the minute
Have that.
the signal pops up, they're all like, "Oh, not tonight, man. I can't do it tonight." Like, and go.
Yes. That's what I want. I just have him have a presence in there. So, Joe, let's take our final ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ad or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Joe, we got some Superman Legacy news.
Yes.
Yay. It's, well, news
You're
in
so
the sense.
excited.
Well, obviously, it's we know this, but James Gunn says that he's going to fully dive into pre-production, costumes, production design, and more. It's going to start filming in January of 2024 in Atlanta, Georgia. And there's a casting director. He's already said that there are choices for who he wants to cast. He already has some amazing choices. Um,
Yeah, I think there was also shared today in the group chat. See if I can get to it quickly before we get moved on here. The crew for Superman Legacy so far, we got the casting director, the costume
yeah.
designer, and the producer, and all three of them worked on the Suicide Squad with Gunn. And that movie was great. So
hmm
I am in like I'm already on board with these people, with the behind the scenes crew.
I have the names right here. We have John Pespadilla,
Yeah, I didn't feel like
Oppenheimer, and Yellowstone, and we have the costume designer Juliana Makovsky for Endgame, Infinity War, Harry Potter, Captain America, and producer Charles Roven from DC Snyder Trilogy. And like you said, all three of those work with James Gunn on his The Suicide Squad as well.
yeah.
So
So already in good hands.
Great hands, and I'm really excited. He obviously has a ton of choices. The casting director is getting to work there.
Hmm.
I want to say now because I shared them with you, shared the stories from the DCU. Uh, that's the site, the direct,
Yeah.
and I want to give them a little bit of shit here because the way they put their headlines, could you be any more clickbaity? Could you be any more bunch of turds? Like I'm going to read the the choice of their headline for James Gunn saying that he has plenty of choices for. He's excited about some of the choices for the casting director that has brought to him about for Superman. Henry Cavill's Superman replacement. DC boss relieved by new actor choices.
Sounds fine. Doesn't sound like
Like,
a at all.
come on! Like, come on! Are you kidding me? Like, what are we doing here? Just
You got.
Oh,
I
it's just
mean,
so sad. And every
yeah,
one of them are. It's the same thing. Incredible Superman actor will follow in Henry Cavill's footsteps. You don't like I said, just say the casting stuff. It just seems like it's just
like how do you
trying
know
to
it's gonna be an
grope
incredible
people in.
actor? Like you don't even know who it is yet.
Yeah. He just like James Gunn said, some incredible choices. I'm incredibly excited and relieved. And he also made when someone asked him about notes in Hollywood, and he said, like, I've never been given notes. Like I don't have to do notes for this. This is not. And thank you. James Gunn fires Henry Cavill for actors way better than Henry Cavill. S Bubs, you could work
I
at the
mean,
direct with that headline. It's just wild, Joe. It's just like I would be like, Gunn says new choices, new casting choices for Superman has him excited or anything like that. It's just
yeah,
clickbaity for being
yeah, that's what it
clickbaity,
is.
and I go there sometimes for the news just to see if I missed anything, and yeah, that's a little frustrating. But yeah, I don't know S Bubs or Album Game asked box office expectations for both Superman Legacy and Flash.
So I'll start with the Flash, and I'll say, are you talking weekend, opening weekend, or are we talking like
Full time, Joe.
definitely has the potential to reach a billion. I don't
Yeah,
know if it will though.
yeah.
I might say I definitely would say 800 million.
I would say the floor is the Batman and the ceiling is the Aquaman. First
Okay,
one. I think that's what I think just from the hype, the buzz. As long as nothing like terrible happens in terms of the movie getting leaked or anything like that.
gotcha.
I feel like this, like you said, I agree with the billion. I,
We've got a few weeks, well, a month from Cinemacon to the movie, and it's going to be kind of like weaving through barrels, trying to like dodge all these bullets. So
yes, just to avoid being spoiled. Obviously, if we were
weaving through
spoiled,
barrels.
we go anyway. But
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
And again, I already know most of the movie. I'm still excited to see the movie.
yeah,
So
I can't wait to see it, Joe, and I do think
as
it's going to do well. But as for
as for
Superman
Superman
Legacy,
Legacy, it's not like
give me a
honestly,
second.
it's going to depend on stuff we hear. Like
I'll tell
it's
you
going
what
to
it
depend
needs
on
to make.
casting.
I will tell you
But
what
it
it
needs
needs
to
to
make
make. Yeah,
probably needs to make at least 800.
it needs to make 668 million.
Okay,
That's what it needs to make at the very least.
I think it could get that.
That's Man of Steel. Like you can't
Okay,
put out a new movie in 2025 and do less than the movie in 2013 does. Like this, not that no one will, especially when some people said that that film in 2013 didn't make enough money.
which is
So,
so stupid.
oh yeah, absolutely. We're not some insane people that are critics and other things.
I just
Just
love the fact that like, oh, it's been 10 years. People are like, oh yeah, that movie actually was kind of good.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
no shit,
fucking
no
idiots.
shit, dummies. Yes, it's frustrating, but yeah, that's what I think it needs to make on the game. At least six, like I said, at least 680 would be nice. 670, 680, but a billion would be supremely nice. Like that would justify the moves that they've made.
Yeah.
But anywhere in that range, I would call it a success. Between 680 and upward, 680 plus would be
Okay.
a success for me. So,
Okay.
and
Again,
I'm
I think it's
not
going to
gonna.
depend on what we're going to start getting some, especially if they're going to start production in January. Hearing casting announcements, seeing a plan. I mean, we already have a plan, but like starting to see and hear what the potential of the movie is going to be. That's going to make or break it.
And I'm done saying what exact numbers I think it will make because, or I'm gonna give more of a range because I said Shazam would do like 400 or 500 million. So yeah, I'm not gonna give out exact numbers anymore because
I was
that
never
was,
good at numbers anyway,
I think
but
that was way further back. But yeah, still, that's not a great
that's
comp. But
fair.
I will call it when I make a completely boneheaded prediction, and that was one of them. Uh, I still enjoy the film, but yeah, not a success. That's how it's going to be. So, Joe, while we were gone as well, we got Creature Commandos full list of actors, and I will go through them one by one. And I'm just going to obviously go with the first one, which is Travis was right as Travis was right. Oh, sorry, Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr.
Yeah.
So yeah, called that one a long time ago, and called it one again a couple
Yep.
weeks ago.
Yep.
So yeah, that was the worst kept secret. Uh, Obviously, Rick Flag Jr. is dead. Maybe I don't know what the Suicide Squad where they're bringing those characters over. I don't know if the continuity counts. I'm really curious about that, but we shall see. What do you think about Grillo as Rick Flag Sr.? You think that's
Yeah, that's
good
fine.
casting? Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
kind of thought that was just pretty good casting.
I
David
mean,
Harbour.
considering this is the character that no one really knows about, yeah, I'm good with it.
We got David Harbour as Eric Frankenstein. Um, I'm excited to see him, and especially if like we said before, James Gunn said that any animated will play that counterpart in live action. So, and he's also
Him
said
as
that
him as Frankenstein, I'm on board because that character in the comics, what little I know of him, was fun as hell. It's just going to be. I mean, I thought Harbor did a good job as Hellboy,
hmm
with what he
same.
was given, and so it's going to be similar to that. It might be a little more
He wasn't a problem with that. No.
correct, but I'm saying it might be a little more straight laced. From like Hellboy had a bunch of jokes. Frankenstein isn't as jokey, so I think it'll be. It's a good choice.
I agree. Indra Varma as the bride. Um, I don't know much about her. Only know her from Game of Thrones. So I don't know much about this character. I don't know much about Creature Commandos. That's
She
something I
was
want to
also
dive
in
into.
Andor.
Obi Wan.
No, it was Obi-Wan. Sorry, Obi-Wan.
Yes, Obi Wan. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
David
and then
Harbour dying in Thunderbolts. Yeah, maybe.
we
I think
have
he just
Alan.
likes work.
We have Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus, another character that looks
Yeah.
really cool. I'm excited to see him. Alan Tudyk is really great as a voice actor and was great as Mr. Negative
He's a
in
very
Doom Patrol.
DC legacy actor here. He's
Agreed.
had so many DC roles.
We have Maria Bakalova as Princess Ayana Vrastovich.
Sure.
We
Yep.
have Sean Gunn playing both GI Robot and Weasel. And I just want to say, I saw some people saw some crap given to James Gunn for casting Sean Gunn. Why wouldn't you cast Sean Gunn? Why wouldn't you cast your brother, who's an actor in some of these parts? And Sean Gunn is actually a good actor. I enjoy a lot of the characters that he's played, not
Yeah,
just in the
like
MCU as well.
people were giving him crap for using the same actors over and over again. That's what directors do.
Yes, they
They
develop
work with the
rapport.
people that they know and that they like to work with. And when you have that good chemistry, yeah, you're gonna get the best performances. Doesn't matter that it's his brother. His brother does a lot of good work. Plain and simple.
Exactly. It's just 100%. It's just so silly when you see that kind of stuff. It's just like, gosh, that's
Yeah.
what directors do all the time. Yeah, so that was pretty cool as well. We have Zoe Chow as Nina Mazereski, character I don't know, and Steve Agee is returning as John Economos.
Nice.
So that will tie into uh, the greater DCU, I guess, with Economos there, which still, I'm always a little confused, still a little confused. If I need it more, explain a bit more by Gunn about what's staying, what's going, and why. I'm curious if the Flash is the reason for that. So maybe we'll get more of an explanation post Flash from Gunn.
Honestly, I think if Flash was still the last movie like it was supposed to be, no question. But because of where it's sitting and what is happening, who knows?
And also with Gunn, there are like reports that WBD thought that his announcement was part of the reason that, or a contributing factor to why Shazam failed. I think that's a little silly. to put all of it on it or anything like that. It could have been for some people, but I don't even know how many general audience people saw his announcement to even know. So I think that it just didn't that film didn't connect with an audience, marketing and other reasons. But I just thought that maybe he's going to hold back on speaking about DCU till some of these films are already up and gone.
Yeah.
So that's all Creature Commando. Super excited to see that big on animation, of course. And he, like I said before, he already said some of these have already been cast in live action stuff as well. So, Joe, I kept the best for last in terms of the news, and that is Netflix The Sandman Season 2 gets an update from Neil Gaiman himself. And he was asked from a Tumblr Q&A, "Hi, Mr. Gaiman, hope you're having a good day. I've not seen or heard much news on The Sandman Season 2. Could you perhaps give us a little news coming on how, like, if that's going good, if it's still going?" Gaiman says, "Scripts are written. We are casting the first episode. We will be shooting. Sets are being designed." So 100% it's still a go. He's excited, and obviously you're always a little nervous when it comes to Netflix, but we both really enjoyed the first season of Sandman and the extra mini bonus episode.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious how deep it will go. Like, I've only read the first, like, how many issues? Like 30 issues or so. Which in theory would be perfect for a second season ending. But I don't know, because I also don't know how long the show will go. Like,
yeah,
I doubt it will get through the entirety of the Sandman run. I would love for it to, but I, I don't know. It just all kind of depends. That first season was really good, and Netflix, you have to wait at least a month before they actually decide if they're going to renew
but
something or not. So
yeah, more often than not, and that's what makes me nervous here with Netflix. I could see this being the final season, but even that, we get
I mean,
two seasons more than I thought we were going to get.
true. If anything, I think it would probably go at least 2 to 3 seems to be Netflix's magic number. 3 more so than 2. Honestly, it's if you didn't get canceled by season 1, you're almost guaranteed 3 seasons. But
You almost got enough
nothing's a guarantee.
sunken costs that you have to. On the games is quite an expensive
It is. It
show
really
but
is. And that's
if you do
why
if you do one season, then 2 seasons, third season should be a little bit cheaper, just in terms of the process, how to do things, the way what works, what doesn't work. It usually works for most, I guess, network TV, but you're doing 22 episodes, so yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
only 10, 11
yeah.
maybe. Like, honestly, you could, in theory, if you really wanted to, film 2 seasons back to back and then be like, hey, so we got this whole other season. But I know that, again, that's money, being able to, if they haven't announced it yet, they'll wait until season 2 comes out before they do that.
But yeah, we are both excited. I was not. I was hesitant going in, thinking I was not going to enjoy it, and it completely made a fan of me. So we will be reviewing this. I can't wait to discuss this with Joe. So Joe, that was the end of our news. We have a retro recap, and again, listeners, there are 2 episodes of Superman and Lois out now that we have not talked about. Our third one is coming out this week, so we will get together and wrap up those 3 episodes. And we also have Titans. A 4th episode of Titans is coming out this week, so we're going to get together at some point before the next episode comes out and talk about.
I'll be completely honest. When we were talking last week about Titans coming out, I was like, "Oh crap, Titans is out already!" And I went to go look. I was like, "Oh crap, there's 3 episodes of Titans out already!" I totally forgot that it came back out.
Well, I remember you saying to me, "Titans is out this week. We have to watch the episode." And I wrote you back like, "There's 2 episodes this week."
Like,
You're like,
crap.
oh. So yeah, there'll be special episodes of that in the DC Alliance podcast feed. Just be on the lookout for that.
Yep.
We'll catch you up just like we did with the first 3 episodes of Superman and Lois, and we'll probably talk about Titans finale on the show because it is the series finale and it's supposed to be a big one. So. Just that little note in front before we talk about our Smallville retro recaps, Joe.
Yeah.
To end the night, season 2, episode 15, Prodigal. The appearance from the Vampire Diaries or the Princess Diaries, as Tom Welling called it on Talkville. Yes,
I didn't watch the Talkville episode.
my girlfriend loved the Vampire Diaries, well, the first 4 or 5 seasons, and I saw a lot of this guy being a super weenie baby, not Lex's brother. So yeah, it was fun to look back and be like, oh my god, you played Lex's brother first.
It's okay, yeah. Do you
On the
expect
game
Gunn's
as
version of Titans to make its way into his DCU?
eventually, eventually.
Does he have a version of Titans?
Well, what he wants his version to be.
I mean, it doesn't have to be, especially if we're getting Batman and we're getting Damian Robin, right?
Well, you could
For
have the
Forever
Titans
Gold.
existing. You could even
You
have it
could,
as
but
they
you
have
don't
with
need
Super
to.
Sons. You could have it with the Super Sons where the Titans don't want Damian as part of their group. I feel like you may get a look at Titan, especially if he's going the route of having Batman with a Robin. I feel like you may have a lot more sidekicks. I think he might lean into the sidekicks a little bit more, and maybe we
Okay.
do get that version eventually on the game. It's a possibility,
Okay.
definitely. Um, yeah. So we're doing season 2, episode 15, Prodigal.
Yeah,
Joe, what do you think
practicality.
about what do you think about this episode?
I remember this episode when it aired.
Same.
I remember seeing Lucas come back, and I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of fun." The whole like betrayal of everything back and forth. I also remember Lucas like he is in this episode and then he's gone.
Yes.
But I know he comes back eventually. Does he not come back?
Never returns again.
Really?
Yeah, never
I
returns
could
again.
have swore he did because then they killed him
No,
off.
that I listened. You this shows
Again,
the
I
one of
didn't
the 3 of
watch.
us
I
listen.
didn't watch.
I
Talk
listened to
about.
Tocqueville. Yeah, he
Okay.
never returns again.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, I was disappointed in that part when I found that out because I didn't know that when I watched the episode. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, I
cool."
thought he. I
I
thought
that's
he
what I thought. I had the same
returned,
thought. I was like, "You must return to season 4 or 6 or something before Lex leaves." And
and
no, they were like, "Yeah, no, he
Ryan looks into it. And is like, nope, doesn't come
nope,
back.
nope, he doesn't."
Well, that sucks. Um, but this is also the episode where we find out that Lionel is not blind anymore.
Yes, and suspicions that we've had, and I really enjoy this. I love how Lucas knows immediately and throws notices immediately and throws the cue ball and finds out, and
Yeah,
Lex finds out for himself as him and Lucas team up to figure out that their dad's trying to pull a fast one,
I
and I
mean,
do enjoy that the
Luthers
brother.
against each other doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
I did like Michael Rosenbaum and Tocqueville said that like one of the things he played from this was uh like he internalized it as Lex could have had a brother, like we could have stuck together against our terrible father, like it wouldn't have
Hmm.
been as bad. And he was like, I tried to use that, and I'm just like, that's actually a pretty good way to break that down. So I did enjoy some of the scenes. Clark saving Lucas was cool for the time in terms of the
Yeah,
CGI, where he's running and turning back and smacking bullets. Tom Willing spoke about that a little bit as well of how that works. So I thought this was a more enjoyable episode than Rush. I was surprised Rush was the previous one we didn't get to talk about very much, where the
I
red
do.
kryptonite.
I didn't watch it. I do remember that one,
Yes,
vaguely.
the thing that drives me about those, Joe, are when your character's not being yourself, there's no repercussions
Right
for
there.
what they did. Like
Yep.
it's just like everyone forgets about it. It's not like you weren't the exact opposite. You were a completely different person and did these crazy wild things a little while ago. So that's the thing that it gets frustrating with the show at times. You don't keep up with continuity or have any repercussions for your actions,
But
especially
it's
Clark.
you've got 22 episodes. It's one of those
Yeah.
things where it's like, well, you're gonna forget about what happened in episode 11 by the time you get to episode 20. So
There was Michael Rosenbaum called Al go again to like basically ask the question about why would Lex go live with the Kents instead of going like to stay with somebody else or go like in a hotel, like why would he? And
we had no
the,
money.
the,
So
the guy didn't give a beat and said because all you ever wanted was family, like all you ever wanted was a functioning family.
Mm.
And Rosenbaum's like, God damn it, yeah, that's perfect, okay.
I
This
do
is
appreciate Jonathan Kent is like, yeah, Lex, I gave you all the shittiest jobs on the farm, and you took them without batting an eye. That you earned a little bit of respect in my eyes.
yes,
Like
and he was.
that goes a long way,
Yes,
and
and we see him looking out at Lex doing the chores and getting impressed, and that's what I
yeah,
did enjoy. I was like, "Look at you, like cracking your hard shell." Especially like a couple episodes ago, Lex was trying to be nice and give something to Jonathan. And he shut it down immediately, of
yeah.
like being a dick. So it's nice to see that turn around. So yeah, that was enjoyable as
And
well.
he's has every right to have like his suspicions
Yeah.
with what Lex was trying to do with Clark, but like he's also seeing this guy earn his keep.
Yes, and that was
And
like
it,
8
it
years ago
right,
now. So yeah, it was like last season. You got to eventually give the guy. Well, we find out that he
8 years ago. It was
right,
like 3 months
might have
ago.
been right about some of the stuff,
Well,
but maybe if
that's
you were
down the
nicer and
line.
more, maybe you were nicer and more nurturing, maybe he wouldn't have went down that route. Who knows? Maybe
Well,
Jonathan can't blame for it all, Joe.
no,
That's maybe the
it's
Smallville
all Jonathan
listener.
Kent's fault. He didn't love Lex like a son.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was cool. And is one funny thing I thought was a lot of these actors that eventually went on to have their own shows on CW made like guest appearances on Smallville. This guy, there's another guy from the Vampire Diaries as well. I feel like this was a
Oh yeah.
tryout gauge for some of
Well,
CWWB people.
yeah, because Smallville was, I'm not gonna say the gold standard, but like season 1 was amazing, and season 2 was, I'm not gonna say rocky, but like it was still a great show, and it got the numbers. I mean, for example, season 4, you had Jensen Ackles in it
Yeah,
for the entire season. Where does he go on to be over the Supernatural? I think also in season 4, maybe it was season 5. Of course, it might be season 6. You had Sam Whittaker.
yeah.
Whitworth, yeah. I mean, I know he was in a few things prior to this, but like he goes on to become like the massive Star Wars nerd that we
We
see.
had
Well,
Adam
he was a
Brody.
nerd before that, but
We
like
had
he
Adam
starts
Brody in the first season as
Adam
well.
Brody.
Same
Like
thing.
you
He went
had,
off to be. First he was on Gilmore Girls on the CW, and then he
yeah,
went off to the OC from that, and that was all from like after this. So
yeah, you had
yeah,
so many people.
this is a cool springboard for a lot of actors, and it's interesting to see some Amy Adams on this as well.
And
So
again, like I said, it was a show that everybody was watching. So
yes,
you saw these actors and actresses pop up. It's like, hey, I like what they're doing. Let's give them something else. See what they can do.
so I pretty much think that's it.
Yep.
There wasn't much else that happened. We like I said to Joe, we don't see Lucas anymore. It's just an open end that Lex said he'll look out for him, but that's it. It would have been nice to see Lucas down the line, but
I know.
I did
I guess
enjoy.
he wants to
I
have his
love the
own
Lex
thing.
and Lionel. Just anytime I can get more Lex and Lionel, that's always a great thing because those performances are just they were just knocked out of the park all the time. John Glover and Michael Rosenbaum. So, Joe, that's it for us, listeners. We'll be back tomorrow, the next day, to talk about the Flash
We'll be back
trailer.
again this week. We'll just say that.
Yes, we'll say that depending on when the trailer drops. So,
Yeah,
good, cross your fingers, good positive odds that the trailer drops tomorrow afternoon. That's what I want.
that'd be
To drop.
nice.
So
Very
yeah.
nice. And then we can just do it right after I get home from work.
There you go. So, listeners, thanks again. We'll be back next week with more DC Alliance. Till then, see you guys.
Bye, y'all.